Hi everyone. Just gonna wait a little bit and see who starts to trickle in. I think we can see the numbers when people arrive.
Okay.
Hi guys. Hi Shanika. All right, it looks like we have a few people, so maybe we can get started. We are visiting the Community Association for Riders with Disabilities today, otherwise known as CARD. My name is Eden. I work for Best Buddies. I do the social media and I am a program advisor as well. And I'm joined today with Shauna.
Hi everyone.
And Shauna works at CARD. What is your role at CARD?
I am known as the program director, so my job is to help to bring in new riders and determine which of the programs that we offer would best suit them and to match them with classes, as well as to help train instructors and horses for the role that they do here.
Great. So I hope you guys are all excited to see some horses today. I see Miles commenting. Absolutely. So we just had the Best Buddies Leadership Conference in Indiana this weekend. We were so glad to have some ambassadors there, and we are absolutely planning and hoping that we will be able to go next year as well. So maybe I can ask you, Shauna, what are some of the programs that you guys host at CARD? Who do you cater the programs to?
So we're mainly a riding program, so most of our programs do involve riding the horses, and we are aimed at children and adults. So to ride here, you have to be 4 years of age or older, and we don't have an upper age limit, so we do actually have people in their senior years riding with us, and you have to have a disability or a diagnosis, and we do accept people with a wide range of abilities. There's only a few medical conditions that are considered too hazardous to ride, and that is in our information on our website. But the programs are where a rider's on a horse in a group of 4. Everyone has their own horse, their own team of volunteers, and then an instructor helping to work on the goals that the group has as a group.
Yeah, okay, so perfect. So CARD is located in Toronto. We will get a little bit more into the details of the program and how you might be able to look into it and sign up for yourself towards the end. But for now, if you guys are ready to go visit some horses, maybe do like a little smiley face or a horse emoji in the chat. Let us know that you are ready to go. All right, I think we're gonna head out.
Okay.
So we're just heading out to the paddock right now.
So I'm taking you guys towards our back paddocks. There are 3 back here. They're a little muddy right now, sorry about that. But with all the rain we've had, I guess that's not unexpected. So we have 1 long paddock over here, and then 2 smaller ones on this side. As we walk a little bit further down, we get a little bit of a closer look at our newest card horse. This is Iggy. Hi, Edge. You don't need to do that. So this is Iggy. Iggy is an 8-year-old thoroughbred. She's just been at CARD for a month. She's actually doing a slightly naughty behavior right now called cribbing. This is a little bit like the horse version of biting your nails, okay? And it makes her feel better, so that's why she does it. So Iggy's a beautiful gray horse. She's just finished her training and become an official member of the herd. You can see she's wearing a very stylish fly mask here. So sometimes people think we blindfolded the horses when we put this on, but in fact, got the scratches? In fact, this is actually see-through. So you can see my hand back here. So it's just a mesh. You can see Iggy's eyes. And so she can see through it. It does give her a little bit of protection from the sun, but its main job, as you might have guessed, because it's called a fly mask, is to keep the flies away from their eyes. Okay, right? Yeah. So let's head this way.
Great. And Miles is asking,
Look, guys.
oh,
We've got some horses getting dirty.
they're rolling around.
The one closest to us in light brown, that's Tia, getting herself all nice and dirty. And in the back, the black one, Capri, was doing her best job to become muddy. Tia rather, is also a thoroughbred. She and Iggy came from the same farm, but not from the same owner.
Very cool. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for joining. And Miles is asking, what does CARD mean? So it's the Community Association for Riders with Disabilities. So all of these horses do programs for people with disabilities, which is great.
So all the horses in this paddock are girls. Generally, they either get along better with girls, or we have other horses on the property that maybe don't get along with girl horses. So we've grouped them together like this. It's not that we always keep boys and girls apart, but just that's the group that we have right now. So the black and white pony, just to my right here, that's Splash. She's our smallest. Iggy, our gray horse here, is the youngest. And behind Eden, I'm just going to spin the camera. Oh, they're all hiding behind the trees, but maybe you can see them. Of this group, we've got a black one named Ronan. He's the oldest horse here. You can just see the black and white part of Picasso. And he's middle-aged. And then behind him is Riley, another thoroughbred. It's a bit muddy, but I think we can get a little closer. So let's give it a try. So Riley, Ronan, and Picasso are all really, really good friends, which you can kind of tell because they're in such a close group, hanging out together. When it's time for them to eat lunch, they like to share a hay pile.
So just like you guys have your best buddy and your friendships through the program, all these horses have their own little friend groups too, which is super cool.
They do. So Ronan, the oldest one I was talking about, he's on the right here, all nice and dirty. And then Riley, who's actually our tallest horse, although you can't tell that from here, is on the far left. And then Picasso's in the middle. Picasso's usually in the middle because he wants to be everybody's friend. You can see they're all wearing their fly masks to keep their eyes clear of the flies. And they're trying their best to find some grass to eat. So this space that they're in is called a paddock, and I'd mentioned that we were heading to our back paddocks here. So we have basically areas where, like from a school perspective, this would be like the schoolyard where you could have recess, okay? So it's really important that the horses get time out as a group to hang out together and just be horses. So even though they have a job here working with children and adults with disabilities, it's really important that they have the opportunity to also just be horses. They didn't ask to do this job, even though they're super good at it, but we have to respect them and be good friends to them to make sure that they're happy all the time. And to our left, you can see Casey. Casey's actually one of the most famous horses here. He was born in Germany, and then he flew to North America and was in the States for a while. He's an elite show horse.
So he's an international
He is an
horse.
international horse, and his dad is also famous. And I don't know if any of you know the Royal Winter Fair that happens here in Toronto, but Casey has shown there, and he won one of the classes there. That's how good he is.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack is wondering, if it was raining, do you keep your horses inside?
Great question, and the answer is sometimes, Jack. So you can see each of the paddocks has a shelter. So if it's just a light rain and it hasn't been raining a lot the way it's been raining recently, then we would just have them stay outside. We do also have raincoats for the horses to wear if it's if it's cold while it's raining, more like in the fall or the early spring. But generally speaking, if it's a really heavy downpour, and absolutely if there's any thunder or lightning, they come inside. If it's been raining a lot and we have mud like this everywhere, this is not healthy for their feet. It makes them get all soft and fall apart. So if it's been raining a lot, even though the actual weather at the moment is not bad, we don't let them stand in this for too long. They would go inside where it's dry. Great question, Jack.
Perfect. And thanks, Kelly, for commenting. We're not able to add anyone to the live, but we'd love it if you could leave your questions, your comments. Keep on watching. Thank you guys for being here.
So we're gonna head back towards the barn, and I'm gonna show you the tack room where some of our equipment is. You'll see some things you're familiar with respect to horses in general, and then some stuff that's specific to therapeutic riding. Okay?
Great.
Baby girl, hi. You want to say hi to everybody? Would you like to say hi?
Oh, she knows she's a star.
So this is Splash. She's the littlest one. You can kind of see now that she's quite small compared to Iggy, who's up here. Hi. Girl. Splash is one of my special friends. And she's a really cool color, as you can see. She's black and white. This is known as a pinto. Splash was also a show horse before she came here, but unlike Casey, she found that pretty stressful. It's not really her thing. She likes routine. She likes to know what to expect, and when you show, it's always about something new, and that just was stressful for her. Are you itchy? Oh, look at the face we're making. We're itchy. Sometimes you'll see horses do this to each other. So right now she's rubbing her nose on the fence. If I was in there with her, she would rub her nose on me.
Is she allowed to give me a sniff?
She can give you a sniff, yeah.
Oh. Hello.
She
How
might
are ya?
wiggle her nose on you if I hit a good spot here.
Their noses are so soft.
So when horses have itchy spots that they can't reach, they often will work together as buddies to take care of that.
Oh.
Splash has left because Capri came over. Hi, princess.
Hello.
Oh my goodness, look at you. Look at that mask, Eden. How can she see?
She's been rolling around.
Yes. You're like Jekyll and Hyde.
You guys see that dirt?
So Capri was a lesson horse before she came here. She worked in a more athletic barn where she had to do jumping and stuff. And then as she got older, her body just really wasn't up to that, but she loves to work. So her owner found her a spot where she could keep working and doing lessons, but not quite so hard on her body. And Splash left because Capri's one of the bosses of this paddock.
Well, I can see why. I don't know if you guys can tell, but she is a really tall horse.
So that's a funny thing about horses is they don't always realize how big they are, and because they're prey animals, they don't equals big with in charge. So a lot of times you'll go somewhere and you'll see a bunch of big horses and you'll see someone small like Splash, and the pony will be the one in charge because for them it's more about attitude.
Okay.
And personality. They don't go and just look at the biggest one being in charge. So it's a bit funny sometimes. And just to demonstrate that, we've got Capri, who's big, and then Tia, who's not. Tia's almost as small as Splash. And together, these two are in charge of the paddock.
They just have the biggest personalities, I guess.
They do, yeah. So we would call Capri an alpha mare.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha being like number one of the alphabet. So she's a boss mare. And then Iggy and Splash, whom we've met, they are not. They are either called beta mares, so like B, A, B, or even theta mares, where they just won't argue at all. Okay, and you've met people like that, guys. You've met someone who's just always willing to be in charge, and you've met the person who's like, well, I'll be in charge if you want me to, but really I'm happy to go with the flow. And then you've got people who are like, nope, not me. I'm not making the decisions. So we have horses like that too. And sometimes if you get too many alphas in the group, you get a little bit of chaos going on. So this is funny because we've got 2 alphas and 2 betas. And then our boy group of buddies, Riley, Ronan, and Picasso, all of them are betas or thetas, which is why they're such a good team, because nobody wants to boss anybody else around. But let's head to the tack room. We're going to walk aside one of our other paddocks here. I'm just going to lock this gate behind us so that no horses go loose. And we get to see our other horse here. Eden and I watch our step. Let's go. Come on. Boogie. Hi. Marshall, come on. Come say hi, everyone. All right, these are the big guys. So Muskoka and Marshall. Muskoka is also famous. He's actually had his picture on magazines and books all over the world. He is the Cheval Canadien, so he is the official horse of Canada. And Marshall, who is super gorgeous, he is a quarter horse fjord cross. That's why he has this amazing coloring. So he's got a 2-tone mane here.
Wow.
Not everyone does. They usually just have a single color. You can see it in his forelock too. It's not just black, but it's got some beige in there too. That's part of his fjord coloring. But these 2 are the biggest guys in terms of strength and muscles. They're not the tallest. Okay. And they're super good friends. Sometimes the Fraggle gets up to naughtiness. And decides everyone must run. So everyone runs. But if you're getting too saucy, what happens, Marshall? Muskoka shuts you down. He says, dude, this is too much. You need to relax. Okay? Yeah. And he does have a smile on his hand.
Are you smiling? Are you smiling?
So we're walking alongside the barn here. So all of these are stalls where the horses live at night. Or as Jack was asking, when the weather's bad, even during the day. Any other questions coming through the chat that we can answer?
Not so far, but if you guys do have any questions as we go, feel free to leave a comment and we will do our best to answer.
So we're heading into the barn now. It might be a little loud for a second because we do have a group of campers bathing a horse, okay? So this is the tack room. And tack is what horses use when they're working. Okay, so basically this is the horse's closet. Okay, so here you can see all their saddles, their saddle pads, their bridles. You can see by the names here that everybody has their own equipment. So in this case, they don't share. Because just like us, horses come in different shapes and sizes and preferences, so we have to have these things fitted to them in order for them to be safe and comfortable in their job, okay? So we use English bridles. We use Picasso's as an example. He has a sensitive nose, so he has a fuzzy on his, okay? And we've got the bit down here, and then the reins. So we sit on the horse like this, and the reins would go back to the rider for steering. And we also have the option of taking the reins off the bit and putting them on the nose band in case we have any riders who are just learning to steer and maybe they're a little bit too quick or too heavy with their requests.
So they don't wear those all the time. Most of the time they're just comfortable without all their stuff on, right?
Right, so this is only for when they're working with their riders or their trainers, okay? And then we also have some special equipment. So we have some special kinds of reins. These are ladder reins, so I think you can see why that name is there. Okay, and these are loop reins. And these are used when the reins like Picasso had won't work for somebody. So if somebody has an affected arm, like maybe they've had a stroke and they've only got one hand to use, they can still use their reins in one hand but use both sets of reins. And a loop rein is used for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes people don't have very strong hands, so it doesn't take any strength to hold a loop. Or sometimes their hands are a bit curled and they don't work super well. So holding onto a strap would be really hard. It would just slide all the time, but a loop won't slide. Okay, so
Great.
we have some adaptive equipment there for people who might have some physical challenges as they're learning to still use their equipment and direct their horse.
Great. And Shanika is wondering, do all your horses come to you broken in, or have you guys had to do training to tame them?
Great question. So actually, Eden and I were talking about this briefly. Our horses have to come to us already knowing how to be ridden and handled, because we need to train them specifically to their job here, working with people with disabilities and the kind of activities that they're going to experience here. So we don't have the time to teach them about riding and being a riding horse. So usually our horses come to here at least 8 years old. We don't take them usually any older than the age of 20, because often after 20 years of age, the horses are slowing down and wanting to stop working. So it's not really fair to ask them to change their job at that age. So somewhere between 18 and 20, we bring them in if they have the right personality for the job. And also, we're really hoping that by the time they come to us, they've had some life experience. So ability to have gone out there and seen different things so that the unusual doesn't upset them.
Great. Alyssa also asked, which horse has been at card the longest?
Well, that would be one of our buddies in paddock 3. And if you remember, I said he was the oldest. Does anyone remember who that was? I'll give you a second to think. I'll tell you, it wasn't the black and white one. It wasn't the tallest one. It's Ronan. Ronan has been here the longest. He is our current longest serving herd member. He's been here over 12 years. He's 27. Isn't that mind-boggling?
He's older than I am.
He's actually fairly old for a horse, especially for a working horse, but he's got a really good build, so his body is standing up to the work, and he has a personality where he just loves to work. So we are carefully watching him so that if at any point he's not enjoying what he does, we will be retiring him. But right now, I think if we retired him, he'd probably start to get depressed because he wants to have a purpose.
Nice. How old do most horses live when they're working like this versus like in the wild? Or wild horses?
So wild horse, anything wild lives less time than anything that's in a domestic situation because their environment is less controlled. But domestic horses in general live 25 to 30 years usually, barring accident or illness. So obviously if you're doing a more extreme sport like racing or jumping, you could get into a moment in time where you hurt yourself and it's not an injury you can recover from. Whereas if your job is walking around, that's a lot less likely. I wouldn't say that therapy horses live longer or shorter lives. And again, the length of their career as therapy horses, it varies depending on their enjoyment and what age they were when they got to us. And a lot of things, just like with people, about genetics and how healthy you are. Again, we all know someone who seems to have a cold all the time and that person who never gets sick. So we have horses like that too, where someone's always getting hurt and someone is never hurt. Knock on wood.
Yeah. Alyssa said he's looking great for 27, which I agree.
When people look at it, the herd, he is not the one that they guess. Actually, Tia, remember that little boss mare in the girls group? She is the one that people will often guess is the eldest here, and she's actually the second youngest.
Wow.
Yeah, it's EG and then Tia. But yeah, she's just really low key and really chillaxed unless she is running after Itchy or Splash. But with regards to her work, she just seems like Been there, done that. Bored now. Rona's always like, what do you want to do? Do you want to do this? Let's go faster. I can go faster. What are we doing? So, just personality.
Great. All right. Did we want to see their stalls, maybe?
Sure. Let's go for a walk out there. Again, it could get a little bit loud, guys, because there is someone being bathed, but we'll try and stay close to the microphone so you can hear us. Oh, looks like bathing's done.
Great.
Oh, good, Amanda. You can keep going. Funnily enough, sometimes after the bath, we still have to clean up. We're going to keep facing this way, please. Thank you. So here are our stalls. This one isn't actually in use right now, but you can peek in. So the stalls are all the same size. We have 9 on this side and we have 10 on that side. And each of the horses have their own stalls, as you can see over here. The mighty Ronan that we were discussing, this is his house.
We've got his picture there.
And his picture, yeah. So it's always their picture, their name, the person that donated them to us, and then who is sponsoring them right now. Sponsorship means that someone or an organization has given money for the horse's needs for the year. Okay, kind of like being a buddy at a distance. And then in here is his stall. So he's got a little bit of a mattress. You can see this is higher than the floor, and you can see it's bouncy. And then these are shavings. So these are little pieces of wood chip that they kind of act a little bit like clumping cat litter. So when the horse goes pee, they group together, and then we can scoop it out to help them have a clean environment. Although you just saw them rolling in the mud, so sometimes that feels like they don't care as much as we do that they have a clean house.
Yeah. Shanika, I think you should learn to ride horses. That should definitely be something you do. And she also asked, do any of the horses ever have babies while at Card?
No, because they are working horses here, and when a mare is pregnant, she can only work through part of her pregnancy, and then it's not in her best interests. And then once the foal is by her side, she can't work because she's caring for the foal and feeding the foal. So we can't have horses here that aren't working. It's just not possible. Also because we have a lot of volunteers here, and they wouldn't know how to handle a foal. So it's just not fair. And you can, if we look back in Ronan's stall, imagine a full-size horse and a baby horse in there. There's just not enough room.
There's just not enough room.
So horses are only here if they're working.
I'm glad you and your friends like horses, Kelly. Hopefully you're enjoying learning a little bit more.
So we're coming down here, seeing all the horses here splash and capri. You notice one side of the barn has windows. We walked past this side when we were meeting Marshall and Muskoka. The other side is actually backed up against our arena. So we call that the warm side, and we call the window side the cold side. So right now, most of the horses are on the window side to help them because it's a hot time of year. And then come October, when it starts to get colder, we move the majority of the horses over to the warm side so that they can be cozy. So the horses that would stay on the window side are those ones who are a little bit more chunky, a little bit less prone to feeling the cold.
Great.
And the horses that would stay on the hot side in the summer are the ones who are a bit more at ease with the heat.
That makes sense. And this is Scooter just had a bath.
Scooter is the one who just had a bath, yeah.
So he's squeaky clean right now. For a little bit.
For a little bit. Until he goes out tomorrow and finds that mud. Right. Any other questions that we can answer before I talk about how to get involved with Card?
Nothing at the moment. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. Otherwise, I think that we are probably going to start to wrap it up with some extra information. And
sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's go say hi to Scooter while we chat. Hi, Scooter. Who's the baby? You are. Yes, you are.
Hi.
This is Scooter.
Oh, he's smiling for you guys.
Full name is Boot, Scoot, and Boogie after the song. And he's super good friends with Casey, that famous show horse I showed you outside. And he loves having his lip rubbed, so I'm going to entertain him with this while I talk to you. So how to get involved with Card. There's a couple different things. As a participant, so one of our riders, You would visit our website and fill in the application form. Once you send that in, there's a couple more forms that are going to automatically be emailed to you. You're such a baby. And you'll fill those in. All the forms, when they're filled in, will come to me, and I'll review them, and then we'll have a meeting together to talk about how your goals can be met in the program, and all the information about how often our classes run and which one would be good for you and the goals that you have. And as a volunteer, because we are a volunteer-based organization, you would still visit the website, but you'd go to the volunteer page and fill that out. Volunteers have to be at least 13 years old, fit enough to keep up with walking beside a horse, and not afraid of horses or people with differences. And we have people from all walks of life that help us out. So sometimes people get their school volunteer hours here. We have a lot of adults that help out here. You don't need to know about horses to be a volunteer at CARD or to be a rider. People ride here for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes they're doing it just as a nice pastime, like you would go bowling. And sometimes they're really licking. And sometimes they're doing it as a sport to learn how to be riders and be competitive. And sometimes it's really about the therapy that they're receiving, the way that they might go to rehab, fix an injury, right? You're being a total
No, he knows he's on camera.
He is totally one that knows he's on camera. When he hears a camera clicking, taking photos, he starts to pose. Hi, you're silly. We always say, who's the baby when we're talking about Scooter, because even though he's not young enough to be a baby, he's a little bit of a baby. He's a perpetual 2-year-old. He just wants to explore everything. He gets upset about everything, right? When we start to feed, he'll have this really high-pitched, don't forget me. And you're just like on the very next stall, and he somehow thinks he's gonna be forgotten.
And where are you guys located?
We're located at 477 Dufferin Street, which is at Dufferin and Steeles, inside the huge park there, which is called G. Ross Lord Park. And it's a huge park, but we're only in one little section of it, and you need to come into the park at Dufferin and Supertest to get to us. There's lots of entrances, but that's the only one with the road that gets you to us. You aren't able to walk where Eden and I were walking when you come. You can walk on the outside of the fences to see the horses, but you can't walk in and touch them, and you wouldn't be able to come down to the barn. So if you wanted to come for a visit to talk to us about becoming part of the services, then we would encourage you to email or call us to set up an appointment for that.
Great. Well, I've had a lot of fun walking around and learning a little bit more about CARD. I think you guys should all come out and have a visit with Seana and Scooter and everyone else here. Hey? Yeah, he wants to see you guys all here. There he goes. All right, so keep your eyes out, guys, for more information about how to sign up for CARD in the future. We hope you guys all enjoyed today. I'll flip this around. All right. Thank you guys for watching and leaving your questions, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.